It's a little shorter. Thanks, Debbie. The framework is definitely solid and lends itself to specific actions to be implemented. I think you'll see that. The plan's realistic, reasonable, and doable. I've been saying 3 to 5 years. We all know that plans tend to go on, but if we don't set a goal of 3 to 5 years, it won't get done. As Debbie mentioned, with our limited time today, we weren't able to fit in a specific Q&A, but if you have questions or comments about the plan or anything you've heard Debbie say or Liz or anyone today, find one of the project management team members during lunch and let us hear from you. We really would like to know what you're thinking. We've asked our guest speaker today to share his personal perspective on aging well in Pitkin County, what it means to him, and how community members can help the effort. Tony Wagner grew up on the original Wagner homestead in Woody Creek, one of 5 generations of ranchers. After graduating from Aspen High School, Tony earned a business degree from the University of Colorado. His background and a strong work ethic enabled him to develop a solid career working and managing the Aspen Trash Service. He was instrumental in rallying Pitkin County to get their fledgling recycling program off the ground, and also coached Snowmass Village in growing their services. Along the way, Tony worked stints as a builder, a horse trainer, a ski patrolman, and I think one of the original Marlboro men. Definitely a string of Marlboro commercials. Tony spends his winters as a ski ambassador for the Aspen Skiing Company and summers caring for herds of cows in the mountains above East Sopers Creek. He is currently the president of the Aspen Historical Society's Board of Trustees and has served on several other local boards. His column, Saddle Sore, appears each Saturday in the Aspen Times. When I asked Tony what he preferred as a title on the agenda, he responded with a quote that I could not resist sharing with you. He said, "I'd like to be referred to as a rancher, skier, and rider, all 3 of which continually challenge me to be just a little better all the time." Tony promises to be equally entertaining and pragmatic in his remarks today. Tony?
Thank you, Laura. Howdy. You might have noticed that I'm the only male speaker on an otherwise capable and talented panel of women. So, if you decide to leave early, I totally understand. Now, I don't know what you think about it, but I'm happy to see you. There are a few familiar faces in the audience, and that's a good thing. Now, it's interesting, I think, to realize that those over 50 are the fastest growing demographic in Pitkin County. Think about this. Stick your head in the sun deck on any given day, and it's a good bet you won't see anyone under 60 years old sitting there. The Ski Co makes a big deal out of the X Games. The local press is always going on and on about the young up-and-comers. Well, let me tell you, we may not be young, but we're sure as hell the up-and-comers. Now, less than half of Pitkin County's population is aware of this, but there's something about aging that gives depth to our perception and clarity to our souls. But don't tell anyone, because we want those younger people to learn that on their own. Now, today, like these other ladies, I'm talking about choices, and I hope to underscore that point with a few stories. Now, by virtue of our presence here, it might be because we know a senior citizen, or that we are supportive of senior citizens, or remember when our parents were senior citizens. But I'm guessing that not everyone in this room is going to claim to be a senior citizen. It's kind of like a 13-step program. It's not going to work unless we first admit we're actually senior citizens. Now today, this great group of ladies from Pickens County and the Aspen Institute has laid out a smorgasbord of initiatives designed to make aging in this area as seamless as possible. Now, we need to become proactive about these initiatives solely for the benefit of our future. Now, keep this one thought in mind as I relate some stories about aging. We don't get to choose when we will need to take advantage of these initiatives, so we need to prepare for that eventuality now. Let's get behind this great Aging Well program and so that it is there for everyone, including ourselves. Now, a few years ago, a lady from the Pickens County Senior Center called me on the telephone and asked if I'd be interested in playing the accordion for the group. I explained that although I used to play the accordion, I quit some years before and wasn't interested in dragging it out for any occasion. However, I suggested that perhaps I could bring my piano up there and play a small piano concert for them. She paused, seemingly thinking about it, and then said, "Well, that wouldn't do us much good, now would it?" I don't think they wanted me as much as they missed Hilder Anderson. It used to be the only thing that told me I was getting older was the mirror, and I strongly suspected it was the quality of the mirror. But lately, and only every now and then, someone throws out a comment that reminds me maybe I am getting a little older. The other day, I went to my son-in-law's place to pick up a black Angus bull, and he says, "As long as you're here, help us load a steer in my trailer." So we approached the area where the steer was held, and he says to one of his hired hands, "Better let Tony stand there and hold the trailer gate. We might have to do some running to get that steer out of the corral." I looked at the hired hand and said, "You run the damn gate. I'll do the running." Nobody said a word, and I did do the running. But comments like that imply we might be getting up there, and I suppose we should accept the good intentions. It's not people being mean. They're just looking out for us, but no one says we have to like it. But getting older, work, and retirement are all about perception, if you ask me. When I was a young boy, I spent most of every day hanging out with my grandfather, riding horses and checking on the cattle, or rounding up wild horses on Wagner Mountain, or myriad other things that ranchers do. No one told me directly, but I overheard through enough conversations to know that Gramps was getting ready to retire. At 8 or 9 years old, the concept of retirement didn't mean much to me, but my overriding thought was that somehow it meant I was going to lose my grandfather. Gramps retired that winter, but nothing changed. He was still out on the feed sled every day, and come summer, nothing changed. We still rode our horses every day. He irrigated first thing every morning, still ran a large herd of cattle, and spent weekends in town with his girlfriend, Jenny. And I should say he was a widower, just to clarify the point. But a conversation of adults in a car that summer waiting for somebody to come out of the Red Onion clued me into Social Security, and that's what retirement has meant to me ever since. You don't stop working. The government just starts sending you a check. And some of my choices. Last winter, I skied 112 days, and I don't ski groomers either. Hiked the Brute of a Hill 2 days a week with my friend Margaret. Managed a solo trip up the Highland Bowl on a great powder day. In the summer, I work hard on the ranch, ride my horse at least 6 days a week, take care of 200 head of cattle up in the high country, throw in some road trips, a little time on the keyboard, writing my column, a book I'm working on, and I don't think I've slowed down a bit. And that might have something to do with why I get a little testy about being called old or retired. Now, this next story exemplifies, at least to me, the reason we need to make the right choices while we can, instead of waiting until it's too late. It's a little bit harsh, but you're going to get it anyway. It was a bluebird March day several years ago, and I don't know when, but I was 63, 64, and my buddy Bob Snyder and I had put in a great day. We were at the top of Silver Queen, and I took off first, remarking that I was just going to take it easy the rest of the way down. I went over to the skier's right, and was really enjoying it when one of those sideways moguls, those unnatural things that go 90 degrees to the fall line, popped up in front of me, and I thought, oh hell, this is going to take some finesse. But I didn't have enough, and as my skis shot up in the air over my head in the beginning of an aerial backflip, I consciously relaxed and waited for the wreck to play itself out. I remember landing hard on my helmet, and a loud crack as I hit the snow made me silently grateful that I was wearing a helmet. A few more contortions, then it was over. I was lying in a heap, face down in the snow, my left arm in a weird position, and unable to breathe due to the snow in my face. And I couldn't move. I was totally paralyzed. The only thing I could move was my chin, and I was frantically rotating it around and around, trying to build an air hole. My buddy Bob skied up, and after what seemed like an eternity, but probably was only a few seconds, scooped the snow away from my face, and I think, had I been alone, I'd have probably died. But in an instant, much quicker than the time it's taken to tell this story, I was forced to make some cold calculations about my predicament. But first, I had to get some air. Now, I quit the regular workaday world a long time ago, and after taking steady kidding about why don't you get a job, I realized all those things I was going to do when I could no longer ski or ride my horses would now be impossible. No more piano playing, no writing a book, at least not on the keyboard, no getting a job. Things looked dismal. But the surgeon who did my neck said another millimeter on my spinal cord would likely have taken me out, but as you can see, I got lucky, very lucky, and I had a damn good surgeon. But lying there in the snow, I thought a lot about choices, and that's why I feel very strongly that forces other than ourselves will decide when we need to avail ourselves of the initiatives discussed today. Making a choice today to get behind this incredibly great program will guarantee that we have help and assistance when we need it, whether it's our choice or not. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. That was excellent. We appreciate your outlook and encouragement to get involved before we might have a need for services. And remember, denial is a river in Egypt. Just a few words to close my portion before I put it over to Patty for some the additional closing. I wanted to say we're an optimistic group of doers. Many of us in the room, I can say that about because I've worked with you. We'd like to think that the refinement of the plan and its implementation would be timely, efficient, and effective for everyone. We know, however, that there is much work to be done, and we will need the help of everyone. We also know that if we are trying to define what success is for our program, or for our plan rather, that will be determined by the effort and energy of everyone in our community. Again, the success will be determined by the effort and energy of everyone in our community. Your role, as has been stated before, is to become involved in the plan implementation and to be a messenger and advocate for the effort. When someone calls you to ask for help, just say, yes. Thank you. Please step up and determine what you are going to do for yourself and for others. The project management team will be walking the tables at lunch, so if you have comments or questions, please pull us aside. I thank you again for your time and your interest and for spending time with us today. Patty?
Thank you, Laura. I'm Patty Kravitz. I'm the project coordinator for Pickens County Senior Services. To paraphrase JFK, this is not about what senior services can do for you. It's about what you can do for yourselves using the resources in this great community. I want to thank you for showing your support by being here today. And I want you to encourage you, as others have, to continue to play a role by staying involved and working toward creating a thriving community for aging well in Pickens County. Our work is not done, and we welcome you to contact us to be involved. You can use the cards that are on your tables if you want to jot down little notes or hand them to us, leave them for us. We'll try to get back to you on any communication that you leave for us. Help ensure that you will be able to continue to do the things you love and find new ways to stay connected for as long as you choose to remain in Pitkin County. We especially want to thank our partners at Community Health and the Executive Service Corps who have been absolutely vital to this project. And we also want to thank our volunteers today who helped out, and the Mountain Chalet for helping us put on this wonderful event. Enjoy your lunch. Thank you all.